Okay, great. On to the order of chairman's remarks. I just want to congratulate and thank Pat Ulrich from Bartlett, who just retired. And his successor is Jeff Perkelis, who was just sworn in on Monday. Congratulations to him. And also to Brian Strokas, who's the new chief of the Oak Brook Police Department. So we welcome them aboard. And we will move on to the order of public comment. Do we have any public comment?
No.
Okay, they're being done. Need a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes will be approved. We'll move on to a discussion of the budget. Right? Or do we need to discuss this first? Yeah. Prms budget discussion, fiscal year 2023. Okay.
Sorry, too many windows there. Thank you, Chairman, and all for allowing us to present the DuPage budget request for FY 2023. The presentation is going to be a little different than what you've seen in years. Typically, we share the spreadsheet prior to, and then we kind of drill down. I thought it made more sense to start at a higher level. We're going to do a summary of our budget requests, and then Dave will drill down for, if you guys have any questions or you want to know specific information, we'll do the drill down then, but I thought it made more sense to start with summary. All right. So our request for FY 2023 is $1,704,978. Sorry, $1,704,978. It is $284,000 more than what we requested in 2022. So it's roughly a 20% increase. The cost per user will be $1,000. What makes up that 20%? So there are essentially 4 major things that make up the 20%. The first item is essentially personnel. If you guys look at the budget, it's labeled as DuPage's Prms, which is the IT side of things, which is the cost of personnel. We have an increase in there that covers a new staff member, and I'll cover it later, but we have a slide that talks about it in more detail. We needed some additional support, so we're requesting for a head count to help us better communicate with both the chiefs and with the records managers, so that we can support those 32 organizations in a more effective way. The second item is maintenance costs for Hexagon, which we've gone through before as part of the restatement process. It's $123,363, an increase from 2022. And then the last item that makes up the 20% is licenses for Zendesk. So as you all know, ETSB, who's our partner in this, on the CAD side, they migrated to a new help desk solution to make it more effective to keep up with help desk tickets and track where tickets are in the process and follow up with users when there's issues. PRMS or DuPage did the same. So there's a cost for the licenses for our team, 6.5 licenses, 6.5, and the cost is $7,140. And the rest is miscellaneous items. So what makes up, and that's the 20%. So what makes up the primary 1.7? These are the primary items that you see there. So $448,000 for overall expenses for the entire staff. total of 4. The maintenance of the Hexagon contract, and then the last piece is the equipment replacement component, which makes up $400,000 overall budget. All right. The next item is the replacement fund, the PRMS equipment replacement fund. I just wanted to highlight this. We've had many conversations about it, so just wanted to reinforce where we are with this fund. The annual cost is $400,000. The initial cost of $600,000 for the first year and $400,000 for 7 more years. The total amount should be $3 million, but this group agreed to allow for us to purchase or pay for the hardware software refresh for the money, which is a total of $815,214. $815,214. So that is happening in FY22 this year. After that, we go back to the $400,000 per year until FY 2026. So that alters what's in the IGA, which is the $3 million. It alters it by roughly $400,000. So at some point, we have to make the decision on whether we increase the remaining years after the refresh is done this year, or do we go in and revise or edit the IGA to reflect this new number? Okay. The current balance of the fund is $1,400,000. What's going on with me numbers today? I did it all morning. I did it all morning for the IT tech committee and it numbered out. So $1,400,000 is what we currently have in the fund. All right, so here's the big shift or the big add for this year. And the one thing that increases the budget over last year, it's one salary. This is just the salary. This does not include the COLA and does not include benefits or anything of that. So this is just for one individual, one role. We currently have an individual in that role, but it's for one role. It's a principal business analyst. That person will function in a few different roles, so or have a few different responsibilities. The main responsibility is as a BA, business analyst, which is to be the go-between us and the agencies, right? To follow up, respond to operational issues as necessary. When there are major issues, that individual will help Dave and team keep track of the issues, follow up and follow through on a consistent basis. Second role of this person is to help us manage all of the projects that we have in the pipeline. So as you know, we are currently implementing on-call analytics, the reporting tool. That person is helping us, helping Dave manage that. We will soon start our NIBRS upgrade. That person will be directly involved in helping us manage that and already is. He's put the project into a formal structure so that we keep track of it, we can hit milestones and make sure that we stay within budget and on time. And then last responsibility is to help us better communicate with the agencies. So that person will help us send out updates, follow up with updates on a regular basis to make sure that we're getting our message out and it's loud and clear, and that we follow up whenever the chiefs or the records managers have any issues or problems. So that's a variance. That concludes the summary of our budget presentation. I want to take a second to open it up, if it's okay, Chairman. Sure. For questions. Please. So we thought summarizing it made more sense, and then we could also do a drill down of the details if you'd like.
Chairman.
Yes, please.
First of all, thank you for the high overview summary. Very helpful. Very much appreciated. Just one quick question. If the new position isn't budgeted and authorized, what kind of impacts would that have on operations?
Quite a bit. So we took, the position is currently paid for out of IT's budget right now. We needed the support. We knew that we didn't have in the PRMS budget, so we kind of put the position on loan. We have to take that back, right? So we have to take it back to IT. We lose that position. The communications that we've developed a regular cadence of communicating with chiefs, meeting with them on a consistent basis and following up on projects. That kind of doesn't go away, but it's not as sharp as it is now, or as we hope for it to be in continuing in the future. So, we lose that if we lose this position. So, Dave has a lot on his plate, as I'm sure most of you guys know, supporting 32 very unique agencies is probably a lot more than you realize. So
You can say high maintenance. Can I ask a follow-up question to that? Just refresh my memory on how many different positions are in that salary expense breakdown. And
there are four.
There's four.
Dave includes five. Well, I'm sorry, with the new position, it's 4 now. The new position would be 5. Yeah. So the Dave and the new principal analysts are, you can think of more the front kind of I don't think of the right word. They're the ones that will communicate directly with the agencies. The other 3 are technical. So they support the database, they support the application, they support the server, things of that nature. Those are the folks that agencies don't really interact with, but we need them to support the back-end infrastructure. But Dave was that person. He was really the only person who was the front person who would communicate directly with all of the chiefs and the records managers. Now we have Don Aaronham, I don't think he's in here, who now will help support Dave and be part of that communication.
So we have somebody slotted for this position?
So he's already in the position, but the position belongs to IT.
Got it.
IT is going to take its position back and then.
And hire somebody else. And move this
Correct.
person over. Got it. Thank you. That's helpful.
Any other questions? Concerns or comments?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sorry, the current cost per user? I know you said the
It's
proposed is 1,000.
Yeah, current cost is, Dave may know it, it's
It's 1,003. In the packet that was sent out, on the last page of the packet is an agency cost breakdown for each agency. For their
1,003 is proposed for
It's proposed, yes.
2023. What is it currently? It's 9 something.
836.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're gonna help.
Yeah, 836.
Question on the overall budget. Can you just, maybe I missed it in there,
Yeah.
the maintenance line item, which is going up considerably. What did that involve?
Yeah, it's a
That's
Hexagon.
cost?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's what we negotiated. I don't know if you
With the new
remember.
contract.
Yeah, with the new contract in, I think, December, November, around that time frame. So that's that cost.
So will that position remain permanently filled after the projects are implemented and whatnot, or is it gonna go away?
No, the
Okay.
position will remain filled because, again, three major responsibilities. The communicating with the chiefs and with the records managers will remain even after projects are implemented. There's always going to be projects, right? We're always going to have to do upgrades and things of that nature. We may implement different applications. And then the other part, which is the part that takes up probably 70% of the time, is the operational side, which is the business analyst side, which is communicating directly about problems and issues and figuring out ways to work with Hexagon, work with our technical team to get them resolved quickly. So, yeah, I'd rather not have tech people do that.
That's why I wanted to
Have
ask.
that.
That's why I wanted to ask. I appreciate it.
Doesn't always translate well when we have our tech people talking about
I get it.
on things. So the principal business analyst will be able to bridge the gap between the two, talk what's going on in the law enforcement side in a more intelligent way and translate that back to our technical people and vice versa.
I just want to make sure, knowing going forward, that's perfect. That's
Yeah,
what I just wanted.
yeah,
Thank you,
that's
man.
it. That's a big piece right now that Dave does. So we work with Dave constantly. He's following up with the chiefs. He's meeting with them directly, dealing with issues specific to the agencies and doesn't apply to all the other agencies. So this new position will help balance that out, and we'll do a lot of that too, as well. As well as me, I'm also participating in a lot of this. Yes, sir.
And I have one other question. When will the billing be coming out for this? Everyone with their different fiscal years, it's important right now.
Yeah.
The billing cycle is based off the county's budget year
Right.
through which closes out November 31st. I'm sorry, November 30th.
30th.
There is no 31st, I'm sorry. November 30th. We pull in October, we pull the agencies for a current active user list. And then we pull the current list, and then when finance provides us with the actual cost, we generate the invoices and send them out in December.
So this proposed budget increase will be, is that from last year's numbers, or will this be
This will be billed in
this coming December, the 1,003, or is
this will be billed in 2023.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. That's
Yes,
Oh, so it's-
because our current billing cycle right now, we pay on the arrears.
right.
So for our 22 FYI 22, we don't get billed until December of 22. And then 23, we have FY 23, then we get billed in December of 23.
So this new rate is a year off for everyone, essentially for the budget purposes. Okay.
Any additional questions?
Anything else?
Let me say one more thing. There are some outstanding payments that we will be following up with some agencies about as well. I didn't want to go in detail in this conversation, but we will follow up so that we are able to recover, the full amount that's being charged. If there is an outstanding.
Thank you. Just, Dave, do you have anything you want to add?
Not to the budget, if anybody has specific questions, I can get into a little more detail on price because
Just that one clarification, if I could.
Please.
Does this include the contribution to the equipment replacement fund?
yes, that's the overall
That's-
cost.
that's-
That includes the $400,000 for equipment.
Thank you.
It was just mentioned. We want to discuss the $3 million in the equipment replacement fund?
Chairman, I think that's a good idea. Right.
It was just mentioned.
Linda was smiling.
Matter to me. But well, I mean, the history of that was the state's attorney's office, this group, the users being able to front their own money and getting ETSB kind of off that capital train. Not that we wouldn't pay, but that there were, if you had money now, you could, now that there's a fund set up, the money could transfer and all be paid, and then it wouldn't be in arrears, and that's just a little cleaner from the state's perspective. But I think a lot of it depends on where you go in the future, on whether or not you need to make up the money at this point or later on. Because if people decide to stay, then I think that relaxes quite a bit, because you're just doing replacement unless, we're on this for another 3 or 4 years now. So you have time to make that up, but you also, if people are gonna look, I know that the chiefs are looking at something different, they should be vetting whatever. But if you're gonna go somewhere else, then that 3 million and being able to fund that yourself becomes more important.
I just find it interesting and maybe an opportunity that we're going to be short 400,000 and we make annual contributions in that amount. So are we that precise? It has to be replaced at the end of that schedule, or do we just add one more year to it? We did that refresh this year, right? So
That's a great suggestion.
isn't it's also an easy amendment, right? You just change the out year.
Yeah, I think that the 3 million was originally, we came up with that, it was the estimate of the replacement cost. That's all it was.
Right, because if you're gonna do a wholesale change 4 years from now, that number might not be nearly enough if you were gonna make go out and do your own thing. I also think, you know, there's a lot of things happening. There's upgrades to make people happier. I know there's been a lot of compliments, frankly, about Deputy Chief Kurt Vavra taking the executive committee over and meeting with the record supervisors and kind of getting a lot of things moving in the right direction. He's done a substantial amount of work with the chiefs as well. So, you know, you don't know where it's going to be, but at the same point, you have 3 or 4 years to make up that difference. And, you know, I think there's language in the IGA, if people are gonna opt out, they have to give you notice. So that would be the time that you'd have to know that. And then the other question would be, there's really nothing, it might be time to look at that agreement because there's nothing in there that says if somebody opts out, what happens to, I think the money stays, I don't remember off the top of my head. Or I think we've always kept it separate as to what everybody contributes so they know what their share was. But, you know, so there's a lot of things to consider on which way you go and you'll have some time to know that based on this new upgrade and then what has to happen. I need to do it right away. Other than the fact, I mean, it would be a state's attorney opinion on whether or not if it's going to be short, that would be okay if there's a schedule to make it up at the end. I mean, because it's really, it says by the end. So it's kind of an ambiguous term.
Can I make a suggestion? Given that we're increasing the operating, maybe we hold tight on the replacement fund this year and next year we can revisit that and increase that. So we at least spread out the different costs. I don't think that we need to ensure we've got $3 million in the fund tomorrow since we're doing the refresh. So I think holding off on that decision for years. Please make sure we remember to raise it next year. We're not trying to make this permanent, but it's just, I don't think we need to take that on right now.
I think that's a good suggestion. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need to do it.
No. No.
Change it.
No.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything? It's not-
Yeah, you just look at the term and how that works and where everybody's going. I think it's worth a look because it's been 4 years and then where you want to go, because a lot of things have changed since then. You know, had we known then what we know now, might have done things a little different.
So you're suggesting just to wait till next year, right?
I think so.
Yeah, revisit.
I think you have time.
I think we do.
I think everyone kind of agrees to that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on this issue?
No, Lou?
If not, we'll move on to old business.
Do we have to, are we approving the budget?
I don't think we
No.
have, it's just discussion
Oh, it's
only.
discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have,
I was just gonna say, when do we plan to
when's the
come back
next
to
meeting?
approve it?
September.
Oh,
This is approved by the council.
right, but don't they, I mean, there has to be consensus and a vote. I don't know what the process is, but they pay.
It's just been kind of-
So I'm thinking there
I
has to
think
be a
it's
vote.
just been presented, though. I don't know that we've taken a vote. I mean, I could go back to old minutes.
I don't know.
We've not.
It's discussion and it's just a general consensus of that before the recommendation to the board.
Last year it was in the June meeting, Jason. if you remember.
Yeah, we just did his FY '22 budget discussion.
Certainly not the process, please. I just don't want anybody who has to pay to be unhappy later, you know, I mean, it's been posted, so you have a, you know.
Yeah, we, in the minute says the committee agreed with moving forward as discussed. There was no vote. So we must have taken consensus in that
And
sense.
then
Is
present.
there, but that was June,
Yeah, it was June,
so when was the next meeting?
In September.
September 14th.
Did they vote on it in September?
Action items, approval of the FY '22 budget for pre-MRS operations equipment replacement fund. And then the recommendation to approve the final quarter payments for the Hexagon residents. But that was for the replacement fund, right? It's not for the
When's
budget.
our September
We
meeting?
thought the budget.
We
Yeah,
can
that's
vote
the
on it in
replacement fund, right?
September, right?
Yeah.
That's the replacement fund.
But that wasn't for the due just budget.
I don't believe so, no.
That was, you were approving
Yeah, that was for the equipment, but when we did the,
made changes to.
yeah, we did the adjustment last year.
So then we're not approving this budget. I
So
mean,
it doesn't appear that historically we have.
All right, all right.
There's a question, Chairman.
No, I was
Yes,
gonna say, if the
please.
group, if there's consensus that we're okay with the budget, does it hurt just putting it on the agenda and having everyone just formally approve it at the next meeting?
You have a $200 increase to all your users. I think that's,
Let's have a roll call. Maybe that's
We
in
can.
September.
Not a bad idea.
I mean, you
We'll
have
add it
enough
to the
budget for the
agenda.
chairman's report on the, and if you have consensus on the head count, which is the big thing, because those are two things that have to be part of the budget process for the county, the head count and that's general fund money.
Yeah. Jennifer, one for finance, when do we need, when would we need, when would this body need to have that into?
For the chairman's recommended,
Yeah,
it would be ideal to, with the due just budget, we start putting the book together in, within the first week or two of September.
well, when is it, September first meeting?
Second Tuesday, I believe.
Would that be sufficient time?
It's gonna cut it close. I mean, I can do the budget based on what I have, and then if it change, like you guys decide not to do the head count, I can modify that schedule. So yeah, as long as I'm told right away, yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you have two things that I think weren't, frankly, at least some time for the rest of the members. So now you've got an increase in headcount and that makes your user fees $200 more. So this for ATSB, Mark.
I'm just being quiet down here.
No, yeah, I mean, it's just,
Yeah, we're.
it's one of those things.
What, anything else on the agenda next month of importance?
Not yet.
All right, the old business. The new business. See the motion, second to adjourn. All in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.